But this primary to me is not about policy. It's about beating Trump.
Alyssa Milano was on MSNBC where she offered up a horrible strategy for Democrats in 2020. Watch.
There are many progressives, or some progressives, who say this is not enough. Is that a mistake? Are they not focused on the overall mission for all Democrats, which is to defeat Donald Trump? Earlier today, Michael Steele said Democrats have a choice. You want to be woke or you want to win. Do you agree with him?
I think it's a great point. I think, look, there's nobody in the world that wants progressive policy to be set in place more than I do. But this primary to me is not about policy. It's about beating Trump. Period. That's it. End of story. We need to nominate someone that is going to beat Trump. And bring honesty and integrity and dignity and truth back to the United States of America. Empathy, compassion, all these things that I want to teach my children growing up in this great country. We need someone that's going to represent that to the best of their ability and fight Trump. And you know, it's not about who's going to make the best president. It's really about who's going to beat this man, this horrible, horrible president.
All right. Now, I don't know Alyssa Milano all that well, but I do know that what she offered here was just a horrible strategy for the Democratic Party. To her, oh yeah, it's not about making a great president or picking a great president. It's not about policy. No, it's about empathy. Yeah, it's about empathy. How do you show as a candidate that you have empathy? You show it through your policy. So if you continue supporting a private insurance-based healthcare system where millions go uninsured or can't afford their health care, do you really have empathy? If you continue supporting massive corporations and the wealthy to the detriment of everybody else in America, do you really have empathy? I don't think so. But for Alyssa Milano, she's already wealthy. She's privileged. She doesn't have to actually worry about policy because she isn't personally impacted by it. So Medicare for all, she doesn't care because she can afford health care. Raising taxes on the wealthiest Americans, that might bother her a little bit. Or higher wages for Americans. She doesn't have to worry about that because she makes a living wage. So it's super easy for incredibly privileged people to be on television telling everybody else, oh, it's not about policy, it's about empathy, when they themselves are benefiting from the current system. And the only thing that bothers them about Donald Trump is how he behaves, how he's a racist, which, yes, all of these things should bother you. Trump's impact on culture should bother you. But when it comes to Democrats, if you care about cultural issues, any number of these candidates in the Democratic Party will shift the culture. Now, in terms of policy, you can have arguments about, okay, who will actually have an impact in that sense. But in terms of having somebody that's going to be president who is going to be a little more level-headed, a little more, at least, empathetic rhetorically than Donald Trump is, well, you'll be fine. There are plenty of options. But that's why you have to actually look at real policy that will affect the majority of Americans. So this is the same failed strategy that the Democrats did in 2016. Oh, Hillary will appeal to both sides. She's right in the center, so she'll appeal to Democrats. She'll appeal to Republicans. She'll get those Republican voters over to her. Yeah, didn't work out. Hillary excited nobody. Hillary was the status quo, much like Joe Biden is the status quo. Why, after seeing that failed strategy, do you want to enact it again with Joe Biden? You need a candidate that is actually challenging the system. Now, look, I actually think, maybe a lot of you don't agree with me, I actually think most of these candidates can beat Donald Trump. I'm not really worried about that. I'm more worried about what happens 4 years after that. So if Joe Biden becomes president, what happens in 4 years? Do you really think America will be fixed? Oh, Joe Biden 4 years. Oh, yeah, it's status quo again and everything's great. No, these issues will continue to boil. And you're going to end up with a Republican candidate like a Sean Hannity or somebody even worse than Trump, somebody who is maybe a little more intelligent than Trump, but just as evil. You need somebody like a Bernie Sanders who is actually willing to challenge the system. I don't understand, apart from, their own focus on their bottom line in terms of the money they make and wanting to keep as much of the money they make as possible when it comes to someone like Alyssa Milano or these other millionaire hosts that host these news shows. I understand their greed. That part I get. But to think that you are voicing here a strategy that will actually help America in the long run is just to be completely void of any actual awareness of how politics works. You need a massive shift. You need to focus on policy, because when it comes to picking a winner, it's not just about picking someone that will beat Donald Trump. It's about picking somebody that will actually create a dramatic shift in the country so that you never get a Donald Trump again.